Hiya, Honest Discussioner here. I know what you're thinking. Did he decide to do another video while in the car? Yes and no. Actually, it's still Christmas Eve. Or, I guess again, yet Christmas morning. And to stay awake some more, I'm going to just do another video, and that'll save some time. I don't have to do it at my place. I can just edit this later. Don't intend to do this a lot, but I saw a video today. Now, just to preface this, I am not a militant atheist. I am not someone who will defend atheism to my dying breath. I will defend it because I think it's right. I think it's the correct thing. I think it's what's true. Now, that being said, if I find evidence that is contrary to this belief, then I'm going to have to seriously consider it. And I came across something that most likely could very well turn out to just being nothing or a coincidence, but seems at the very least worth mentioning. I don't know if anyone saw this, and I can't even link to it. CBS didn't provide a link, but it was on CBS.com. It was a story of a 15-year-old girl who was born 5 weeks premature, about 15 years ago, I guess, and suffered some major malformities because of that. I don't think, even to the point I don't think she could really form coherent sentences. Doesn't look like she knows what's going on. Mentally challenged, and that sort of thing, and physically as well. Now, she had been in and out of hospitals her entire life, and also around her 15th birthday, or a little bit before, she came down with a serious case of pneumonia, and doctor said, there's nothing they can do. She's just not going to make it. And the family apparently then decided to take her off of life support. A little bit later, apparently, as the story goes, she experienced a full-on recovery out of nowhere, and this coincides apparently with a white flash caught on the security cameras, mind you, and apparently reiterated by the mother. There was a white flash of light coming from her room, caught on the security cameras, and her mother also claims to have seen it, I believe, at about right before she got this. She had this immense recovery. Now, she's still the same as before. It's not like her mental capacities or her physical capacities are any better. She's just, not so sick anymore. Now, miraculous recoveries happen often, and sometimes they're explained, and sometimes they're not, or sometimes they're explained later as medical science advances. And sometimes we see, flashing lights on security cameras that aren't exactly explained, or aren't explained at first and then explained later. I think I saw a light that moved around the gym, and people thought it was a ghost. They found out it was a bug on the flashing screen. Now, either of these two incidences by themselves wouldn't worry me, but if the story is accurate and they're not embellishing this or making extra leaps with how they're connecting the details, if that be the case, then it seems to go a little bit beyond coincidence. That you have the blinding flashing light, and then and almost immediately after, a sudden miraculous recovery. So that the mom saying that she is certain that it was an angel that came in and saved her baby girl. Now, this brings up, even if this is true, this brings up a host of different issues. First off, just a small one. I mean, how do you know it's an actual angel and not just God himself that came down? I mean, why does it have to be the angel or anything along those lines? That's just a tertiary note at best. I thought I'd get it out of the way. The second, why doesn't this happen a little more frequently? If God is a person that will send an angel to go heal someone, or, whatever, why does this not happen, a little more often, you'd think? Because there are people, very devout people, that pray and pray and pray. So now maybe this is God showing his power and showing evidence of himself. Okay, great. It's I think he can do it a little more often, don't you think? If he's okay with showing evidence that he exists, then why does it have to be just a little bit of evidence? Which most people are not going to hear of this story, and the vast majority aren't really going to remember it after a long enough time. So again, even if it's true, why does God do that? Now, another thing that I wanted to ask. Now, I am not, but don't jump down my throat here, but I'm wondering if it was a good thing that this girl was spared for her own sake. Now, I'm not saying that mentally challenged and mentally retarded people, or physically challenged people, should be put to death or anything along those lines. I don't understand her situation. I'm just curious as to what her experience is like. And it might be impossible to know. And this could just be my own bias, because such a huge part of me is my ability to think and to reason, and I could not imagine life without it. To me, it would be a incoherent jumble, and it would be as close to hell as you can get. Now, that being said, of course, this girl obviously doesn't know what it's like to think on deeper levels. So, maybe she just doesn't, she doesn't miss what she, doesn't know about. But that whole thing aside, I mean, is she in pain? Is she in mental anguish from having a malformed brain? She could very well be in relative agony and not even really be able to express that. I'm just, I'm not saying this is for certain. I'm not even saying there's evidence for this. I'm just wondering if this is the case. And if so, was it a good idea for her, or was it not a good idea? But was it a good thing to be spared? I know everyone has a right to their life, but I know there's a lot of people out there that would not want to suffer their entire lives, and maybe she's actually incredibly blissfully happy most of the time. That could be, but I've seen people like that, and they do when their eyes are. I've seen their eyes being very, very dead, and almost as though they're really just not there. And I really wonder what that existence, what that experience is like. I mean, I would have to think just from my own perspective that it would be horrible, but what do I know? It could be the greatest thing ever. And they say ignorance is bliss. And it is to a certain extent. Again, I'm not advocating that we should be killing these people off or even contemplating the idea. I'm just wondering if she is better off. She personally, her family is obviously very happy to have her back. And that could be easily a reason why, if God exists and God did spare her, that would be the reason why. Again, that brings me back to, there's a lot more people out there that could use that could really use that help. Like, I don't know, maybe saving someone's father so that they can actually afford to live. Be nice. See, this brings up a host of issues, and I'm sure there's going to be people that aren't going to like what I said about the mentally challenged person. And I'm going to reiterate again, I'm not trying to say she is less than a human being. I'm really just concerned for her sake and whether or not she is, whether or not her mind is in a state of constant confusion or not. And it might be impossible to know. I don't know. I just saw a 2-minute video about how there was a blinding light and she was saved. Have a nice day. Honest Discussioner, out.